So Jujutsu Kaisen is known for having a lot of action, fighting, and just straight up boxing.
Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga!
But which fight in the anime is the best? Today I'll be going over my top 5 favorite fights from the show in the anime, starting with number 5, which I wasn't really too sure which one to pick because Jujutsu Kaisen has so many short fights, so there was really like 8 different fights that all could have gotten this spot. It was the same for the number 4 spot too, to be honest, but I ended up picking Yuji versus Choso. Now I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love this fight, it does get slightly carried by its visuals. Like the story behind this fight really isn't that interesting, especially considering Choso turns out to be Yuji's brother a few episodes later. But the action and visuals and direction in this fight is just so damn good that it kind of just makes up for it. I love the blue and red neon color style they chose and the fact that it's present during the entire fight. The subway station they fight in feels so real, especially because of like how much of the environment is destroyed during the fight and is used to take cover or to set off the water. Apparently they used live action footage of a station to create 3D backgrounds, which would explain why it looks so realistic. Choso's ability is sick and works so well with the color style, and I love the part where they are in the bathroom just boxing. No tricks or abilities, just hand-to-hand combat for a solid while. And again, the director absolutely cooked. There are so many like first-person shots that look sick, so many different places they've placed the camera, like inside of this car, just helping it feel less static and more fun to follow. Again, visually, this fight is a masterpiece, and I really love the creativity that went into it. So much so that, like I said, it doesn't really matter to me that there isn't a deeper reason as to why they're fighting. Sometimes you just want to see a cool looking fight. Now, the next fight on the list, like I said, there was a lot of options I was considering, but I ended up picking another fight that involved Choso. That being Yuji and Choso and all of these guys versus Kenjaku and Uraume. I think what I love the most about this fight is just how much it evolves. At this point, Yuji has been fighting for 4 episodes straight and keeps fighting for another 2. And I think what's important when a fight is really long like this is that it changes and switches up. And this fight certainly does that without even having to talk about the 4 episodes that came before it. It starts off with Kenjaku showing up to face Yuji. He then absorbs Mahito, then the Kyoto sorcerers show up one by one, then Choso shows up, then Uraume shows up, then Yuki shows up. Like, this truly feels like a season finale, pulling out all the stops and remaining available characters, resulting in a pretty entertaining fight. Choso's ability continues to be awesome, and it's cool to see him actually finding ways to almost deal damage to Kenjaku. I guess I also just like fights where a bunch of characters come together to fight a stronger opponent, kind of like the Sea Fighters versus Nappa or Frieza, or when they fight that teleportation dude from Mob Psycho. It's kind of cool how everyone gets their little moment. Even Miwa gets one of the hardest pull-ups in the show just to get clapped like instantly. But anyway, number 3 is Jogo versus Sukuna. Now this is the fight that completely changed my opinion on Gojo, going from a completely normal villain to one that was actually very sympathetic once we learned what his goals were. At this point in the story, I didn't really think much of Gojo strength-wise, probably because the last time we saw him in action, he was getting his ass handed to him. But he's actually like one of the strongest characters we've seen thus far, taking out all of these 3 in like 1 second. But of course, Jogo is not allowed to be in the spotlight for too long as Sukuna quickly takes it away from him, and the fight that ensues between them is completely bonkers, bro. Really doing a good job showcasing both of their strengths. The destruction of the city is really felt in the way it's animated, and it truly feels like they are just nuking the entire place and using it as a playground. And possibly my favorite moment is when Jogo is like spamming fire attacks and you see the heat thermometer display thingy increase until it hits 99. This is such good direction and one of the many incredible moments from the director. I checked and that was not in the manga at all. That's how you know that the people making this knew what they were doing, truly elevating the source material. Another standout moment is of course when Sukuna plays red light green light with Panda and the others. Number 2 is Mekamaru versus Mahito. I've already talked about this fight a lot on the channel, but this fight is just so good, man. So good that it honestly could have taken the number 1 spot. One of the main things that make this fight as good as it is Mekamaru's character and the tragedy behind his character. Getting straight up murdered like right after he got his body back, which had been his lifelong dream. Like damn, that shit is just kind of depressing, bro. Since I've already talked about that so much in this video, I'll talk more about the action because it is insane. The animation is so damn good. The Gurren Lagann reference is so well done. I was just so blown away when I first saw this this by how hard they went for a side character like Mechamaru. I'm not the biggest fan of mechs personally, and I know that a lot of people have like a burning hatred for mechs in anime, but I really like this. The fact that bro had been storing cursed energy for like 18 years or something, all to unleash everything in Mahito was so raw. The fight just doesn't stop. It's just like unrelenting action. One moment you think Mahito's won, then Mechamaru does some insane shit and just drops like a nuke. This fight actually uses mechanics established in the show thus far, like the simple domain to escape Mahito's domain. And of course the fight has to come to an end in a tragic fashion. This was, I think, the start of the best stretch of Jujutsu Kaisen so far, which also contains the fight that is on my #1 spot. Yuji versus the Grasshopper. Nah, I'm joking. It's Yuji and Todo versus Mahito. I think one of the main reasons this fight works so well is that there are 3 characters involved. Typically in anime, I feel like it's most common to see like one-on-one fights. So this was kind of refreshing, especially because it managed to focus on the 3 characters equally. None of them felt like they were getting more spotlight than the others. Yuji got it back in blood, Todo was just the GOAT, and Mahito continues to show how much of an asshole he is. I think my favorite character in this fight though is Todo. Every part of this fight, he manages to have some sort of insane moment. He starts off by completely outplaying Mahito, having the coldest entrance ever and giving Yuji like an Irwin level pep talk, then goes on to have some of the most well animated sequences in the fight. The animators must have really loved Todo because they actually just went above and beyond for this shit. I mean, the guy has his own music video mid-fight. I've never even seen that before. He also keeps the fight extremely entertaining because of his ability. Sometimes a cool ability or a technique can really elevate a fight, and Boogie Woogie certainly did that here. It was honestly just really satisfying to see all the times Mahito got like completely outplayed by it. Like, damn, bro does not learn. And speaking of Mahito, this fight really continues to show how effective of a villain he is. He really is the ultimate asshole. He talks shit, looks like a prick, you just want to see him get what he deserves. And he does get just that when Yuji walks him down. This scene is just cinema, bro. It is so satisfying. The direction of the scene is just peak, man. My singular complaint about this fight is that I wish that Yuji had landed the finishing blow on his own without Todo's help, but the entire fight is just so good that I can just ignore that. So that's pretty much it for my ranking of the fights, although if you do want to see my ranking of the arcs in Jujutsu Kaisen, make sure to check out this video right here.